I will definitely be overweight for the rest of my life. Very likely obese. And that's perfectly okay. Sort of. I'll leave you in suspense on what that sort of means while we talk about ideal weight for a minute. One of the biggest questions related to personal fitness is, how much should I weigh? And like many questions, you can find the answer to that in about 5 seconds of internet search. Question answered, video over. Except that the information you get from that is very likely going to be useless. One of the first links you're going to find when you do that internet search, and a few thousand links after that, is a BMI chart. BMI. On the BMI chart, overweight is defined as 25 to 29.9. Obese is 30 and up. Now, that being a scientific measurement with medical use, there is, of course, a logical rationale for where those numbers come from. And that reason is, no, seriously, that's it. Someone just made those numbers up, and we all just said, that sounds about right, let's go with it. Now, I'm going to do an entirely separate video on the history of BMI later, but let's just cut to the chase. BMI is an absolutely worthless measurement for your fitness as an individual. BMI is very useful for determining the fitness of entire populations, but it does nothing for you personally. That's because BMI is entirely based on height and weight weight is only a fraction of the total information you need to determine your health as an individual. Now, in extreme cases, weight definitely indicates a problem. When I first started this, I was right about 400 pounds. There's no way somebody at my height could be that weight without it being a huge medical issue. On the other hand, you could be the other extreme. If someone was my height and they weighed 110 pounds, you would want to get some medical attention for that because there's a very good chance that there's a problem there. But let's talk about cases that are a little less extreme. For example, I weigh just under 260 pounds. On the BMI chart, that is borderline morbidly obese. Now, when I hear the term morbidly obese, I'm thinking TLC reality show subject. Can barely get up and walk across the room. Gonna die in the next 5 to 10 years. Now, obviously there's a range of fitnesses within that term, morbidly obese, but I don't think I'm that bad off. So this is me morbidly obese. It gets more complicated though. My goal weight is 200 pounds. That puts me right in the middle of overweight territory. Now, I'm actually trying to build muscle as I lose fat. Okay, let me interrupt to say that many people have said that it is entirely impossible to add muscle mass while you're on a calorie deficit. That is, to use a technical term, complete nonsense. And I have hard evidence. But we'll get back to that in another video. But once I hit my goal weight, I figure I will keep gaining muscle until I get somewhere in the range of 215 to 225. That would make me, you guessed it, obese. Now, by the BMI chart, for me and my height to not be considered overweight, I'd have to weigh 179 pounds. According to my last body composition analysis, my lean mass is 170 pounds. That means that if you theoretically got rid of all the fat I have in my body, I would still weigh 170 pounds. That means that to meet the BMI standard of normal weight, I would have to have about 1 to 2% body fat. That's not normal. That's not healthy for anybody. So the BMI chart is giving a good healthy weight for an average person, but that doesn't necessarily mean any one individual person. That's averaged across everyone in a big population. By the way, it cuts the other direction too. You can be a healthy weight, look thin, and have a very unhealthy level of body fat percentage. And we'll get into that in detail in another video about what it means to be skinny fat. So according to the BMI chart, I will always be overweight, probably even obese. In reality, I'll be the size that I should be. I will be the size that I choose to be, which will be within the range of what's healthy for me personally. That's not limited to one weight or one waist size or one muscle mass. I encourage you to educate yourself on what is healthy for you personally in a complete sense. Let's go.